Hey YouTube. Hey, I was making some deer jerky today. I've been making a lot here lately. Um, and I thought I'd just do a quick review of the Cabelas Jerky Pistol. I've had this for probably 4 years now and used it multiple times every year. So probably a good time to review it now that I've used it quite a bit. Um, the jerky pistol itself does not hold, I don't know if you can see my hand, it doesn't hold that much capacity. Actually, when you shoot it out onto a tray, here's a tray full of jerky, I can normally get about this whole thing except maybe these two little strips. So I almost get a complete tray with each load of the pistol, but still I got 7 trays here, and I usually can fill all those up with 5 pounds, or pretty close to. So that's 7 times loading the gun. That you do end up having to load the jerky pistol quite a lot. The attachment that most people I think will use is this double jerky attachment. It actually is puts out quite a good size, about the perfect size for jerky. The other attachments are these like these snack sticks, single and a dual. Those work fine. And then it has this little single like a jerky adapter here, but I don't know if we can tell or not. It's actually quite a bit, I don't think I'm going to be able to show, it's quite a bit thinner than the other jerky attachment. And in my opinion, it's this one's pretty well worthless, and because it makes the jerky so thin, by the time you dehydrate it, it ends up getting crunchy. So unless you really want your jerky to be crunchy, I think this one here is pretty well worthless. Now the double jerky attachment itself actually has its own issues, just because of the way it's designed, how it's pinched down in the middle. If your meat isn't grinded well and has some stringy fat or sinew in it, it'll clog up in this middle part, and then all your jerky will end up finally kind of coming out all nasty looking. It won't be nicely shaped. So my workaround on that is I actually regrind all my meat when I make jerky, and that gets rid of those longer pieces and gets it ground down better, and then it runs through the jerky gun good. So if you ever have any issues with this jerky attachment clogging up, I suggest go ahead and regrinding your meat before you mix it up. My other complaint, I would say, would probably be this. You have this little attachment so you can put the meat in there, a little pan or whatever you want to call it, and you have the stomper. And this stomper, as you can see, if I see if I can do this, is actually shorter than the whole gun. So you really can't even use it with that cone attached until you've got about a quarter of the meat in there. That's probably one of my other little quirks I don't quite like about it, because the longer you are between stuffing, the more air you get in there, and then it kind of blows your jerky apart, and you don't have really nice long strips. It kind of breaks it into smaller strips. Other than that, I mean, the pistol's been pretty good. Probably one of the other quirks is just things coming loose. So let me go ahead and squirt this out, and let me show you the inside of the gun, because there's some nuts and washers in there. They just kind of come loose. So I'll show you that after I empty this gun. That's the only thing bad. You got to kind of hold it down to break the jerky off to do your new strip. As you can see, that some strips will come through and they'll be nice and separated, because it'll clog here in the middle just a little bit, enough to make 2 nice strips, and then other ones you'll see have a little bit of connection between them as they squirt through this jerky gun. Those will separate as they dry. That's another bad thing, is when you're done, is that this thing has really got a real big uh, volume inside of it, and it actually holds quite a bit of jerky still left in there. So I usually try to get that out of there and freeform that into a little patty to make a big piece of jerky out of it when I'm done. As you can see, the end of the inside here, there's a plastic cup that actually pushes the meat out of the gun, and it's got a stainless steel washer on the inside and on the back side, and it has a stainless steel nut. This stainless steel nut likes to come loose. If you hand tighten it, it is going to come loose basically on you. I've tightened this with a Leatherman, and right now it's still tight after probably 6 loads. But you definitely, one of those things you just basically got to get a wrench on, or it's going to come loose on you. Bad thing is you're going to have to just take it, loose again so you can take the gun apart and clean it. It will get meat behind the washers and around everything. So let me give you a closer shot of this double jerky end and how the metal's pinched down in the middle. I'd say overall, on this gun, the stomper being too short and the nut on the inside coming loose. I mean, that's some things that's an easy workaround. I'd say the most frustrating thing for me when I first got this gun was the fact that my meat would get caught in there and the jerky wouldn't come out right. It would, it really kind of screwed it up. And that was probably the most frustrating thing. And then I didn't actually have a meat grinder when I first got this. And this actually probably caused me to get a meat grinder. I think I started off with a manual one, and that worked. And it made the jerky way better. I mean, just made the whole gun work. And that just may be the quality of the grind I was getting from the butcher that I use. Other people may not have that problem, but something to look out for. That's probably the biggest issue I had with it. Other than that, the gun works really well. Thanks for watching. This right here is all the meat that was left in the actual nozzle when I was done. I told you there's pretty good capacity of meat left in there. So I just get it out of there, just most of it that I can, and then I just patty it out into a thin patty to make a... I kind of learned this whole saran wrap trick off my mother-in-law. But I'll just patty this out about as thin as what jerky would be, and I'll throw it in the dehydrator too, and then you got one really big piece of jerky. It doesn't look the greatest, but it still tastes good.